you so much for tuning in and watching my first ever YouTube video where I am telling my story from where I come from to how I got to where I am now. So stay tuned for episode 2, which will be coming out very soon. And I do advise you to get some tissue because you're gonna need it. All right. Thank you. Hey guys, it's Amanda, aka the Money Gal. And a lot of you may know me. I have been helping people make money online for the past 8 years. But today, I want to tell y'all who I was before I became the Money Gal. So, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. My family is not from Memphis. My family is actually from Chicago. I found that out about 5 years ago. My great grandma passed away going through her stuff. And like as I look back over my life, I tried to forget. I tried to forget the past. Okay, so sorry about that. But when I look back over my life and I try to think about what really happened, because I tried to forget a lot that happened in my past because a lot hurt me. So I remember my grandma, my cousins, and me and my sister and my big sister and my mama, like we all stayed in the house. And I know Sundays was the day that everybody came over. But I remember us living, we all lived together. But then my mama eventually moved out. We ended up moving out of my grandmother's house and moving into some apartments. We moved in those apartments. I was always with my mama. But then on Sunday mornings, my mama had to go to work. My mama worked at a church nursery on Sunday mornings. So she would have to drop us back off at my grandma's house. I don't really remember the age, but my mom worked at a church nursery on Sundays. It was Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. Because on Wednesday nights, I would go to the church with her. But on Sunday morning, she would drop us off at my grandmama's house. And at this point, I guess my uncle lives there. And he had this, I don't know, because I was young. I really don't know. I just know that it was me and my sister, we would get dropped off. But I had an older cousin, an older boy cousin that was there. And so we had to go in the den where he slept. It was either in the den or in the front room because my grandma had like this big green sectional in the front room. I never forget, she had this big old teddy bear. I don't even know what it was. It wasn't really a bear. It was just a stuffed person. Can't even say it was a animal, stuffed animal, because it was an actual person, like a little troll, but it wasn't little, it was huge. But on those Sunday mornings when my mama would drop me and my sister off, that older boy cousin would touch on me. And like I don't really remember. I just know like I remember certain parts. Um I just remember these certain parts. Like, I try not to remember everything because, like I say, it hurt me so bad. I try not to remember everything. But I do know, like, being touched and being introduced to um sexual things at a young age, it, it definitely messes with you. It does something to you. I can't say that I'm 32 years old and I'm just now talking about it. I've never told anybody. This is my first time ever telling. I can't say anybody because crazy thing is, I told my mama, and I told my mom, when I had a girlfriend. I told my mom when I had a girlfriend because we used to fight, and one particular time, I had her in a headlock. Had her in a headlock. She was smaller than me, but I I can pack a punch, and um. I had her in headlocks and she beat me like in my arm, like right here in my arm, where you can see. And my mama was like, out of all the friends that you ever had, what's up with this friend? Why is she leaving bruises and stuff on you? And that's when I told her, like, that was my girlfriend. We was fighting. And she was like they kind of hurt her feelings. And she was like, what did I do wrong as a parent? And I remember telling her, like, I don't think you did anything wrong. It's just that this particular cousin used to touch on me and he put these things in my head that had me scared of guys for a long time. Like, I didn't date a guy. It took me a while to date a guy. I was honestly scared of guys for a long time, for a long, long, long time. So like I say, that happened. Um, people used to talk about me in elementary school, so they didn't make it no better. I was going through that, and then people used to talk about my big forehead, my big eyes, my big lips. So I was very insecure growing up, very, very, very insecure. In the third grade, I learned how to sing. Well, that's when I discovered my voice. I discovered my voice when I was in the third grade. And singing honestly made me feel better. But not being able to sing around the house, you got your mother telling you to shut up. She don't want to hear that. I can sing like my daddy side of the family. Like, what? She didn't want to hear that. I couldn't sing. So I was like, wow, my cousin used to do this to me. I couldn't tell nobody. Singing made me feel better, but I couldn't do that. So it was like, what am I here for? Like at one point, I used to ask myself, "What am I here for?" I used to ask myself, "What am I here for?" So, like I say, third grade, I started singing. Met some friends. Like I only really sing at school. Met some friends. Signed up for the talent show. Um, fourth grade, man, I really started making friends. Another part of the world started coming to school, and I made friends. I started cussing. Um, and I also made my first F in the fourth grade. I remember in the third grade, go back to the third grade. Third grade, I really kind of I guess opened up after being so closed in from what happened to me. So I think in the third grade is when I kind of opened it a little because I learned how to sing. I had friends. I remember I was making straight A's because they would take you to Red Lobster at the end of the semester. And I remember doing it. Third grade was the bomb. Fourth grade was the bomb. But that's when I started, like I say, started meeting friends. People was like, "Oh, you don't cuss." Being a follower, I started cussing in the fourth grade. And then I made my first F in the fourth grade. Fifth grade was the same because fifth grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade was kind of smooth. Like like I said, with no boys, it was boys, but they were friends. Like I wasn't interested in boys. I had guy friends and I had female friends. And like I say, we stuck together from fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. Because my mom wanted to take me out of elementary school in the sixth grade, but I wanted to stay because all my friends were still at elementary school. So I was not gonna leave them. Um, so when I get in seventh grade, I have to go to a new school. This school is a walking distance from, by this time, we have moved in the house. So I think when I was in third grade, we moved in this house and been in this house. So third grade moved in this house. By the time I was in seventh grade, I was going to the school right up the street from me. Um, I met a friend from the third grade in the seventh grade because I hadn't seen her in all those years. So it was good to see her. And then we made a friend. But I think she had been going there in the sixth grade. She was renewing to come back for the seventh grade. I didn't go to sixth grade, of course, because I was still at elementary school. So I met her, clicked with her. And sixth grade was cool. I mean, seventh grade was cool, but I was able to walk home. And then being able to walk home and you walking home with other friends, other people, and um when my house like was the first house, I was the first person to lead the crowd. Me and my friend, she used to walk home with me. But me and her was like the first one to lead the crowd. So after a few times, a friend that I was walking with, her older brother kind of caught on, like, oh, she walk home and don't nobody be there. He in the ninth grade, I'm in the seventh grade. So I lose my virginity in the seventh grade to a ninth grader, to the hoe of the school. And I remember his best friend came and was like, I'm so disappointed in you. Out of all people, him. And it's like going through the things that I went through growing up. And I really wasn't taught nothing about men, nothing about sex, nothing. I thought that was the right thing to do because my cousin originally introduced me to this. So I'm thinking it's the right thing to do, especially because he's feeding my mind with all these things like this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this to a man, you know. So, um, I battled with issues. I had a lot of issues with sex growing up. And like I say, by the seventh grade, and I'm having sex, and it's all these spirits. It was so many, so like literally just looking for love, looking for somebody to love me in all the wrong places. Because my mom used to work three jobs. Like I rarely ever saw my mama. She used to work three jobs. I rarely saw her. We was always at the house by herself, me and my little sister. My big sister was here sometimes, but it was always us. It was just we was always at the house. So I had a lot of issues. And I remember one time my little sister walked in on me and a boy. And she told my mama, and that's when my mama put us in dance. So by the time I was 11, we started dancing when I was 11. Um, yeah, I think that's when you were like the seventh grade. Yeah, you so like 11. I started dancing when I was 11. If anybody know me, you know that I dance ballet, tap, and jazz. I did it for 10 years until I was 21. Dancing really saved my life. Dancing really saved my life because my mama was doing it to get me out of the house because I used to have so many boys in her house. She signed us up to dance. And dancing really, 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 really changed my life. Like I've never told this story to nobody. Like I've never, ever, ever told my story. People just always thought I was just a little fast little girl. And I wasn't just a fast little girl. Like my older male cousin, somebody who was supposed to be there to protect me, was hurting me. And he told me not to tell nobody. I can't tell nobody. And like my family's so small. My family's so small. Um, but I started dancing when I was 11. I did ballet, tap, and jazz. And I never forget, like my mama used to, I'm little. I'm very little. My mom used to buy clothes 2 sizes too big. You need some washroom. Everything used to be 2 sizes too big. And I remember walking into the dance studio. Cause we had tried a whole lot of stuff, but it was dance that really just did it. But we had walked to the dance studio and I had on the big clothes, baggy clothes, and the lady was like, "No, ma'am, no, ma'am. We do not wear clothes like that. We wear clothes that fit our shape, that shows our figure." And I was like, "What?" Because I was just so used to wearing big clothes, like I was so little. Like that's really why I wear clothes that fit me now. Like I now wear whatever I want to wear because my mom used to like I was getting it was just all that went with the insecurities. Like all of that just went with the insecurities. Like we're having to be a little girl and wearing clothes 2 sizes too big. Like, okay. That's why I used to always make people laugh. I've always been myself. I've I love to laugh. Like life is too short. Too much going on in life to be mad. Um, so at that time, I started dancing, did a little bit dancing, and dancing kind of threw my mind off of the boys, but not really. Then I was forced to go to church. Forced to go to church. The little lady who daycare I was in growing up, she forced me to go to church. She forced me to sing in a choir. So at that time, it was like all this happened at like 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Um, I always, always, always knew that there was someone higher, like in the midst of me going through all of it, like with my cousin, even when I was in the bathroom in my mama's house wanted to kill myself, like it was always a voice in my head. It was always something always stopped me. And like I remember being like when I was going to Anthem, I think I was like 18, 19. I may have been older than that, but I remember going to Anthem in school and I could hear a voice like I started working by the time I was 14, I was working. So yeah, by the time I was 14, I really didn't have time for boys. I was working and I was driving. I didn't really have time for boys like that because by this time my mama has introduced me to work, introduced me to um honestly the rich white people to see how they live. Like I started babysitting rich white people in humongous houses at the age of 14. And even all the schools that I went to was never in the hood where I grew up. My mama always drove like 20, 25 minutes away from where we live for me to go to school. My mama introduced me to my mama introduced me to their lifestyle that the rich white people worked in the lifestyle that they lived. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm seeing this at a young age. Okay, cool. I'm seeing it. Um, so I'm driving at 14. I got a job at 14. Yeah, I really wasn't studying boys. I was introduced to money. And from the ages of 14 to 24, I worked. Even if I worked two, three jobs, I worked. I drove. I think I had a new car every 9 months, every year. I worked, but I always, like I said, by the time I was 19 or so, I would hear a voice in my head. Like this is my first time ever really saying that I no, it's not because I had other encounters where a little girl in Walmart was like, "Keep doing you. You're doing an awesome job." I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You heard what I said." So God has always talked to me. I've always had a strong, 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 strong relationship with God because, like I said, when my cousin was doing them things to me, and after he was done, and I was just lay there, I would cry and talk to God. I didn't know who I was talking to at the time. I didn't know who I was talking to at the time, but I knew somebody had me, and I knew I wasn't alone. And like I said, when I was in the bathroom ready to commit suicide, I couldn't do it. Like it was a voice in my head that was just like, "Don't do it." I remember being on the floor crying as a young girl, asking God for a baby. I wanted a baby as a 15-year-old because I felt like nobody loved me. And I was just like, Lord, if you send me a baby, if you give me a baby, I know this baby would love me no matter what. I just couldn't understand why I couldn't get people to love me. So, like I say, I started working for it when I was 14. Um, Started driving when I was 14. In the midst of 14, 15, like I drove and I worked a lot. I can't even really tell you what happened in that time frame, but I do know I failed the ninth grade. I was still into boys, so I failed the ninth grade, and like I went to a new school, ninth. Ninth grade I went to a school. 10th and 11th grade I went to one school. Then the 12th grade I ended up in homeschool. That's how bad I was. She just took me out of school. She just took me away from people altogether by the time I was in 12th grade. But I was like I say I was driving. Um, so I was driving to the little homeschool place. But I'm grateful and I really I really had to get this off my chest. 2024 has been a whirlwind. Even from last year, it's been a whirlwind. So yeah, like I say, by the time I was in 12th grade, she took me out of school. I was homeschooled. I was driving. But when I graduated, I failed in ninth grade, but I still ended up graduating before all of my friends. I'm proud of myself because I worked hard. I was like, I did who? I failed the what? So I ended up graduating January 2011. And then my mama wanted me to be a nurse. So she literally was just about to sign me up for Concord. I was about to go to Concord, and he was just like, hold on, man, a nurse, a nurse. Signed up for that, did all that 2 days before class started, about a month before class started. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Then after this, she paid cash out of pocket for me to go to this CNA little school. Um, I got almost close to being a CNA and was like, nope, don't want to do that. It's like, no. So I really wasn't given a chance to choose what I wanted to do in life. So now here I am at 32. I have worked with children. I have worked for the government. I have done real estate. I've done a lot of stuff. But that's why I I've been doing what I do for 8 years and I'm not at the point where I want to be. And I remember asking God, why am I not where I want to be? And he told me I need to tell my story. And I'm like, hmm? So like watching other people tell their story, it's like, yeah, now it's really time for me to tell my story. Like I say, I feel crazy to be 32, just not telling my story. Um, I really don't even care what people think or say at this point because it's my life. It happened to me. So nobody can nobody can make me feel any kind of way. So I can say when I started dancing, I gained some confidence. That's why I say it really changed my life to start dancing. I used to lay my heart on the floor when I danced. But dancing really changed my life. I love I love to dance. I love to be happy. I don't know. I just always had a great relationship with God, even now to this day. People will say, "Oh, you think you too good, or you think you better than everybody." No, I just value my peace. Like having to hold hurt like that in for so long, I can hold anger in. I had an anger issue. Of course, that sparked anger issues growing up. By the time I was in the ninth grade, I was fighting guys. I didn't care. I was hitting dudes. I hate that this is all over the place, but I really wanted to just tell my story. And like I say, how I got through this, I just put everything in God's hands. I literally just put everything in God's hands. Um, certain things you can't control, like especially the stuff you can't control. Who just throw it up there, put it in his hands. Don't worry about it. Keep on washing them dishes, vacuum in the floor, turn on some music. Because I tell people all the time, life's gonna happen. Life gonna throw stuff at us all the time. But how are we gonna react to it? That's the number one question. How are we gonna react to it? But like I said, at one point when I did end up going to medical school, I remember I was working at the church nursery that my mom used to work at. I was working there and I could hear in my head, plain as day, like plain as day. Because I work on Sunday mornings, Wednesday evenings. I hear in my head, plain as day, quit your job and go to church. Because at this point I hadn't been to church in so long. At least 4 years because I was working on Sundays. So So yeah, from like 11, 12, 13, 14, I went to church. But after that, I stopped going to church because I was working. So someone's just saying, quit your job and go to church. And I'm like, what? I'm hearing this in my head. Quit your job and go to church. What? So I remember talking to this a classmate, and I love her to death to this day. She just don't know. And I was like, we didn't go to school. We didn't go to school. We had to meet at the library for something. And we ended up walking to McDonald's. And I remember pulling her to the side and I was like, Aquana, I keep hearing this. I keep hearing something in my head saying, quit your job and go to church. She's like, girl, that ain't something. That's the Holy Spirit. You know what that is, and you know what to do. And she walked away. And I was like, wow. And you want to know something? I did not quit my job. So one day I walk into work and I'm young. Like I say, I'm like 18, 19. Uh, I get to work one day. I'm young. I used to party. When I turned 18, oh baby, I was clubbing every Friday. Every Friday, every Saturday, I was at the club. And I would go to work that Sunday, hungover in the church nursery. And um one Sunday I got to work and this time I had my own room. Now mind you, like I said, I had been there since I was 14. I had been floating around, floating around, floating around, going to room, helping folks, helping folks, helping folks, just floating around all over the church. So now at this time, I got my own room. I got the baby room, the little infants, the itty bitty bitty bitty, the little baby. So I had my own room. I was a lead teacher. Even though they didn't have a curriculum because they was little, it was infants, babies. So she came in there, the boss came in there and asked me to go to another room. I'm not a floater anymore. I'm not about to go to another room. So she was like, what? Okay, so she went down there, she went somewhere. And baby, she came back and told me to get my stuff and leave the property. And I was like, huh? She said, get your stuff and leave. My mama worked in the next room. So I went over there. I was like, Mom, she just told me to go. She's like, what? And like, I ain't tell my mom. Mom was like, I wish you would have told me how she said it. But I went over there. I said, Mom, she told me to leave. She said, huh? My mom said, go get your sister, because my sister's working too. She said, go just get your sister and come on. That lady fired me and my mama quit. My mom had been there all them years. But she was like, you gonna fire my daughter? I'm finna go. Because it was like, what you firing me for? She really didn't have a reason I was being insubordinate. Being insubordinate, go get a floater. I'm not a floater anymore. So that was God. Like God was telling me to quit my job and go to church. But I didn't quit. So when I went to work, I got fired for no reason. None whatsoever. And I tell you, that was really a testimony of mine that I'm like, God is real. Because he was telling me to quit my job this whole time, go to church. And then I ended up getting a job, getting paid twice as much as what I was getting paid there. And I had the weekends off and it was still working with kids. So, um, I guess I just came to tell y'all to always, always, always have faith in God. He will he'll never leave you. That is honestly how I was able to get through that as a young child. and I am the black sheep of my family, and I'm okay with it because nobody went through what I went through but me. So always put God first. Like I said, give it to him. If you're gonna give it to him, don't worry about it. If you're gonna pray about it, don't worry about it. Can't do both. My faith is real strong. Like I say, from May 2023 to losing my apartment, being wrongfully evicted, and then March 2024, losing my job. And then in May 2024, my grandma gets sick. My grandma been sick. She's literally still, she been in and out the hospital since May of this year. So it's like, oh, and I fasted this year for the first time ever. I had not ever fasted. I fasted. I did a prayer challenge, and it was like this was just weighing so heavy on me. I had to get it off, and I had to get it off before 2024 ended. So today is the 22nd of December. I'm gonna try to have this on YouTube soon. But it's always, like I say, always trust God. He'll never leave you, never fail you, never forsake you. He's always there. He may not come when you want him, but he is always, always, always on time. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching episode 1. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.